Going on, peeps? What is going on, everybody? Today we do some really important fun stuff, which is, don't remember, but yeah, some fun stuff. Yeah. First class with you, Wahaj. Oh my God, son, I hope you're gonna have a great time like I do. I hope you have a great time, son, in my class. I do hope so. Really do hope so. Yes. Yeah. All right. Shall we start? Yes, I see. I'm always hyped up, son. Wahaj, I'm always hyped up. Why shouldn't I be? Life is too short to not be hyped up, you know? Okay, yeah. Life's too short. You gotta enjoy it, right? So, now what reactions define acids? So that's from Alina. Walaikum assalam. I hope. Hatim, walaikum salam. You guys have some weird pictures on your profiles, you know. I'm just seeing, you know. But, all right. Hi, Sarah. Saad or Sarah? I forgot. All right. So reactions of acids. That's where we are at, by the way. Reactions of acids. So that's what we're starting with. Somebody's made a sad face already. We don't even start and people have made a sad face. Yeah. I know. Sir, when we? I don't understand the question. When we? When we is a good question. I have no idea what when we means, but okay. I know. All right. So let's begin. Okay. So we're doing reactions of acids. You know, reactions of acids, what defines something as an acid, and so on and so forth. Yeah. All right. So where shall we begin from? We shall begin from the fact that from yeah. I'm not starting with a new session. This is the session. That's the only session. Son, daughter, whichever that is. Okay. I only have one session in life. That's this one. Okay. So let's start. So reactions of acids. What's the most defining reaction of an acid? What is the most defining reaction of an acid? What makes an acid an acid? Remember? So everything that have to do with acids is because of the acid. So what makes an acid an acid? Remember, an acid is one that makes H plus aqueous ions. So it's all about H plus aqueous ions. It's okay, Hassan. So now, the first reaction we know of acids is what? Now, type of reactions. So acid reactions, you call it. What makes an acid an acid? So reaction number one, I'd call it the most important reaction. My writing takes time to settle down in here. So reaction numero uno is a reaction that promotes neutralization, which is H plus ions plus OH ions makes water. How do you get this reaction? You get this reaction when an acid reacts with an alkali to make water. Generally speaking, it doesn't even have to be an alkali. It can be any metal oxide. So acid plus metal hydroxide, because this is a hydroxide anion. Yeah. And what do they make? They make water and they make salt. Let me repeat the question. Reaction number 1 क्या था? Acid and metal. Oh my god, something, why does it happen every time? Yeah, something really messed up with the handwriting. What's going on today? Not enjoying this. Makes what we call a salt and water. Now what's a salt? Salt here means anything that an acid and hydroxide make. That's what's called a salt. I know, Dilavar, I am, and that's what bites me in the ass sometimes. So for example, now there is the active reaction basically is, let's say for example, the acid has HCl. So HCl is a very common acid. You can react it with the most popular hydroxides are group 1s. So they lo NaOH. They can make NaCl, which is the cation of the metal and the anion of the acid, and make water. Do you see? Water. That's the game. Alright. Now, on the other hand, it could also have been वो वाली acid ना. It doesn't have to be HCl. It could also be any acid. Let's see, दूसरी acid कौन सी थी? We had done HNO3. Now HNO3 plus NaOH does the same. It makes NaNO3 and H2O. It can also be H2SO4 and NaOH. It will make, in this case, sodium is a 1 plus ion, sulfate is a 2 minus ion, so therefore it becomes Na2SO4 and water. But the problem is, because you have Na2, you need 2 NaOH, and when you need 2 NaOH, you'll get 4 H's, so you need 2 moles of water and 2 O's. So you got to start learning how to balance them also. This is the most important common reaction in this case, and the word equation is acid plus metal hydroxide makes salt and water. Now salt is basically the metal and the anion of the acid. So yeah. Yes, Dilavar, now you need to learn how to make the equation. You see, you don't need to learn, like now for example, let's use a fake acid. ठीक है, let's say मेरे पास acid है HAX. Let's say HA is my acid. Now what does acid have? A plus ion. Yeah, not enjoying this. Why is that the case? So, and any metal hydroxide. Now here X and M are unknown, we don't care about them. It makes metal, salt, and makes water. This is the generic reaction you have to learn. Okay. Good question. People don't like me anymore. Maybe that's what's happening, Dilaver. Every day, other day, the platform seems to start having issues with the platform. I don't know. Something or the other starts happening. Yes, Sania, it's saved, by the way. Now, oh, okay, okay, okay. Now, when they come, you're updating the Ahmed, we're updating the website in about a week's time. A lot of things are coming up in a week's time. Let me try the white background for a second, okay? Because this is really bothering the perfectionist as me. So the idea was that I take HX and a metal, क्या था? Hydroxide. And the thing with that is H and the metal hydroxide ka metal ka M and the acid ka anion combine, and the H2O make water. The H of that and the O of that make water. That's the game. Now, you don't have to learn this. You can apply this to anything. So, what was Dilaver you were asking? Okay. So, all right. So, the idea was that the idea is simply that HX क्या था? Take any acid, let's say HBr ले लो, and take any hydroxide like KOH. I'm just saying that you're replacing the plus the M and the X. It's still the H plus and the OH minus make water. That's constant. The ionic equation of this reaction is this, so guys, that H plus and OH minus ions makes H2O. Alright, that's what you have to learn. Thank you, Ahmed. Love the love. Okay, so alright, you do that, son. You do that. Now, scene ये है कि it could happen with any acid. देखो, HBr, just replace the X with anything, and you have to start balancing them. You can even use this kind of hydroxide, like calcium hydroxide. Remember this, that the H plus and the OH minus will make water. That's the game. And the NO3 will combine with the calcium. So calcium 2 plus, yeah, and hydroxide is 1 minus. So you need calcium hydroxide twice. Walaikum salam, Amara. And then this right here is the now it's not balanced, by the way. So the first thing is I'm going to start getting us to balance these equations. Okay? The point is, and what I'm talking about is this. Okay? Calcium hydroxide, OH. Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. What am I saying? Yeah, you're right. It's not OH, it's a nitrate ion. NO3 minus. But वो भी twice है. Absolutely. Alright, Moise. Then, So the idea is, the idea is what? Okay, so this is the idea. कहाँ गया? क्या कर रहा था? So take any acid. Let's say HCl है acid एक. I'll give you some. HCl is a strong acid. HBr is a strong acid. HNO3 is a strong acid. And H2SO4 is a strong acid. ये आपकी acids हैं. And what you should start learning is कुछ आपकी group 1 alkalis हैं. NaOH, KOH, group 2 alkali है. Calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. You know, you can even have other hydroxides, but this is a good starting point basically. And so the idea is that any of these acids can react with any of these alkalis, and in सब के reactions होते हैं. So for example, or let's say A1, acid 1, acid 2, acid 3, acid 4, and metal hydroxide 1, metal hydroxide 2, metal 3, and metal hydroxide 4. ये सब react करके बनाएंगे salt and water. So for example, A1 और M1 क्या salt बनाएगा? Sodium chloride. A1 और M2 क्या बनाएगा? Sorry, A2 and M1 is sodium bromide. A3 and M1, sodium nitrate. A4 and M1, sodium sulfate. That's how you start coming up with these things. All right? Does it make sense? Hi, Sarah. Oh, crap. Where did it go? Okay. Sorry. Does it make sense? Is anybody here, by the way? There are not too many people here, it seems. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. Kahan gaya? 1 second. So if I go back, you can make a salt from any of these acids and any of these bases. If I had a little better space to write, you know, yeah. Like, what if A3 with MgOH? So इसमें क्या बनेगा salt? Let's say A3 plus M4 बनाएगा let me do this again. So now using this, let's use one acid and write 4 equations. I want you to take out a piece of paper somewhere and write these equations. Can you? Take our time, balance these 4 equations, all right? I'll give you a minute. Yeah. So the first one, can we do this? So H2SO4 with the rest of them, right? So what do we have? And in this particular case, you have, since the, remember the formula क्यों बना Na2SO4? Because you should start learning SO4 is a 2 minus ion and Na is a 1 plus ion. Nitrate is a 1 minus ion, chloride is a 1 minus ion. These are the three most popular anions of acids. So when you keep that in mind, it'll help you make the salts. So acid plus any, let's say MgOH twice tha. Now in this case you will make MgSO4 and you will make water. So when you balance this equation, what do you get? You get now, because it's 2 is to, it's both 2. The reason why it's MgSO4, and this is one of the things we did way early, was this. Yeah. So it's you, and then you balance the H's and the O's. You realize कि आपको 2 H2O चाहिए. Yeah. Another example, H2SO4 plus calcium hydroxide. Now calcium is 2 plus ion, sulfate is 2 minus ion. So it makes calcium sulfate and H2O. But since you have basically, when you add the O's, you realize 2 H2O chahiye. Now how do I realize 2 H2O chahiye? When either the acid is 2 H's or the alkali is 2 H's, you're going to make 2 H2O. That's the thing. You'll realize it's a trick. For example, देखें H2SO4 plus NaOH. Now, यहाँ H2 है, NaOH 1 है. First of all, for each H plus, you need 1 OH. So the easiest way to remember is that for if each H plus you need 1 NaOH, यहाँ आपके पास कितने H's हैं? 2. Right? You see that? So in the end, the ratio has to be, for each 1 H, you have 1 OH needed. So यहाँ H2 है, so you need 2 NaOH needed. And for each H, you need 1 OH to make 1 water. But अगर H2SO4 में 2 H's हैं, you have to need 2 OH ions to make 2 moles of water. And that's something that you got to start thinking about. All right? Always remember that 1 H needs 1 OH minus to make 1 water, which means 2 H pluses will need 2 OH minuses to make 2 moles of water. And that's the problem we see when we either have H2SO4 with, let's say, KOH, or HNO3, for example, with calcium hydroxide. क्यों? Because with H, in the first one, H2SO4 में there are 2 H's. So for 1 H you need 1 OH, but 2 H's need 2 OH ions, and it'll make 2 waters. And the last one, you have 1 H plus, but you have 2 OH's, which should tell you that you need 2 H's with 2 OHs to make 2 moles of water. And the salt is from the cation anion. So K2SO4. And ये है calcium nitrate. Do you follow this? I think my page was too big. Yeah. Now it's visible. Yeah. Do you see this, everybody? I'm taking class, Ahmed. Obviously, sometime, right? Thank you. That's the first reaction. So the first one we saw is acid. हमने क्या देखा था? Acid and metal hydroxide. The second one is very similar. It's acid plus metal oxide. Like उसमें क्या होता है? H plus reacts with O2 minus to make water. तो उसमें आपको 2 H चाहिए होते हैं. Like HCl plus MgO. So you need 2 HCl's and it makes MgCl2 and H2O. Let's say you have HNO3 plus calcium oxide. अच्छा इसमें सीन ये है कि इसमें now you have oxide. Instead of a hydroxide, you have an oxide. Instead of a hydroxide, you have an oxide, and that should matter, by the way. It makes a big difference. All right? Actually, it makes a big difference in knowing that now instead of 1 H and 1 OH reacting, you need 2 H's with 1 O. So here you need 2 H's. So therefore becomes 2 HNO3, and that makes the salt. In this case, that would have to be calcium nitrate and 1 mole of water, because now 2 H's will make 1 mole of water, because पहले OH में भी एक H था. That was the thing. But now there is no H coming from the oxide, so both the H's have to be supplied from the acid. That's how you can remember. Does it make sense? Okay. Hi Miral, how are you? Then ये था. So where are we at? हमने क्या किया? So now we're looking at metal oxide and acid, right? That's what we're looking at. Metal oxide and acid. So metal oxide and acid could be group 1 oxides or group 2 oxides. So you can take HCl with a group 1 oxide and HCl with a group 2 oxide. दोनों में it'll make a salt and water. So NaCl plus H2O, and now you need 2 and 2. Otherwise you have CaCl2 and H2O. Again you need, for every 1 O you need 2 H's. This is also neutralization. Yes, the previous one is also neutralization and this one is also neutralization. Mesam, abso-freaking-lutely. This is also neutralization. Yeah. Any questions? Great, Farwa. I'm so glad. So, by the way, there are 3 types of ways of neutralizing an acid, guys. So, Mesam, there are 3 ways of neutralizing an acid. Let me see if I can. So, acid plus, हमने क्या देखा था? I'm repeating myself, but just so that I know, acid plus metal oxide and acid plus metal carbonate. All 3 are neutralization reactions. Okay. पहले 2 जो है ना, पहले 2 they are different. The पहले 2 make salt and water. Metal oxide also makes salt and water. But metal carbonate, which is what I'm going to show in the next slide, makes salt, carbon dioxide and water. Okay. Salt is what forms from the cation of the metal and anion of the acid. ठीक है? Let me say this again. It's a good question. You can think of salt like this, guys. Salt is एक cation होता है और एक anion होता है. So it's an ionic compound. But cation होता है metal, anion होता है from acid. So sodium chloride will come from sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. Let's say आपको बनाना था magnesium sulfate, तो आप ये बनाएंगे, this would have made from magnesium oxide or magnesium hydroxide, and the acid जिसमें SO4 ion होगा, that is sulfuric acid. So it's an ionic compound that has a cation and an anion. The cation comes from the metal and the anion from the acid. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. So always remember that. So अगर मैं बोलूँ आपको कि let's take HCl and potassium oxide, then remember salt बनेगी इससे और इससे, salt बनेगी, and you'll have H2O. So you'll need 2 HCl because oxide के 2 चाहिए होते हैं H's, or it will become 2 KCl. वो balance करना पड़ेगा. You got to start learning how to balance these. Yeah? And the third thing I showed you was metal carbonate. Now metal carbonate क्या होता है? Let's say K2CO3. So 2HCl plus K2CO3 will make KCl, the same salt, but carbon dioxide बनाएगा और पानी भी बनाएगा. Why? Because the carbonate ion makes carbon dioxide. Excuse me. Yeah? Yeah. So basically acid plus metal carbonate makes salt, water and CO2. So HNO3 reacts with what? Let's say magnesium carbonate. तो क्या बनाएगा ये? Thank you, White Fang. I didn't read my news the last 1 week, so thank you for catching up with me. Awesome. Great. Sarcasm a little bit. Okay, so acid plus carbonate. Now, why didn't the acid balance? Because you see, yeah, you got two NO3s. So you realize you need two HNO3 there. And that's a balanced equation. You should be able to write all balanced equations, guys. Okay, let's say, for example, I said H2SO4, plus calcium carbonate. What will this fellow make? This will make calcium carbonate. No, sorry. What am I saying? It'll make calcium sulfate. Plus water. Acid will make carbon dioxide and water and salt. This is the salt. इसमें 2+ आयन आया है मेटल से और SO4- आयन आया है एसिड से. Yeah, metal carbonate, calcium and sulfate. Are you following this, guys? Well, Miral, you have to know that the cations ka charge and the anion of the acid ka charge, and then just balance the charges, like Abul used to say, crissy crossy, whatever that is. So just like you make ionic compounds, remember, in a salt this comes from the metal carbonate and this comes from the acid, the anion. As long as you remember that, everything else is extremely possible. Yeah? You follow? So those are so far the reactions of what do we have? Acids के. ठीक है? तीसरा reaction क्या है? Metals, metal hydroxide, metal oxides, metal carbonates. These are 3 reactions. There's a 4th one also. And this is, but this one is not with all metals. You'll say, this is, so acids plus reactive metals make salt and hydrogen gas. Which reactive metals? The metals above hydrogen in the reactivity series. You can also call it neutralization. Yes, you could also call it neutralization, because as long as acid khatam ho raha hai, absolutely. But this one is also, this one is actually more, I would not call it neutralization, Mesam. Actually, don't call it that. I realize we can't call it that because it's redox. Neutralization implies pani ban raha hai and it's not redox. See, in the previous cases we made water and it wasn't redox. Now we want it to be, this is redox. And why is it redox? Because, for example, sodium lete hain. It makes NaCl and hydrogen gas. Now, the oxidation state of hydrogen changes. It goes from +1 to 0. And we've done oxidation states, remember? And sodium goes from 0 to +1. So sodium is getting oxidized, so that's oxidation, and hydrogen is getting reduced, that is reduction. You following this? So metals plus acids is reduction. Kyun? Because acid ka H plus becomes, yeah. No, not reversible. Where did I write reversible? Where is it right reversible? It is not reversible. Who told you it's reversible? Oh my god. Oh my god. What happened here? Who said reversible? Come on, man. Riyaz, get on with the program, son. It ain't reversible. So let me repeat myself. ठीक है? Metal plus acid becomes, through redox reaction, becomes a salt and hydrogen gas. You actually see bubbles of hydrogen gas. ठीक है? Let's say iron लेते हैं. Iron can react with metal acid and to make FeCl2 and H2. उसको दो HCl चाहिए और इसमें क्या हो रहा है? H goes from +1 oxidation state to 0 and iron goes from 0 to +2. It is the only redox reaction that we have seen so far. Alright, please remember that this is redox. Alright, this is redox. Okay. Then, so a good example like as H2SO4 ले लो. So acid plus let's say magnesium metal will make even this. So magnesium, calcium, aluminum भी ये करता है. Let's say aluminum and nitric acid. So HNO3 plus aluminum will make AlNO3 3 times plus hydrogen gas. So you'll need 3 of this, 2 of this, 6 of this, and 2 of this to balance it out. And you'll have to learn balancing, yes. But that's the reaction. Alright? Okay? Today is a very, 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 very quiet day. Alright? And extremely quiet. It's so weird. Yeah. So, what have we done so far? So metal hydroxide can neutralize acids. Metal oxide can neutralize acids. Metal hydroxide, metal carbonate. All of these react with acids to make salt and water. Carbonate also makes carbon dioxide. So makes salt and water. Make salt and water. Make salt, water and carbon dioxide. And the fourth one is metal plus acid, which is just salt and hydrogen gas. And this one is redox. It's still acid going away, but जो ऊपर वाले हैं वो न्यूट्रलाइजेशन है, नीचे वाले नहीं हैं. Yes? Done? Okay guys, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here because I am not any energy to go forward, and honestly speaking there's not really many of you here today. It's been a kind of a dead day for both of us, so I'm going to stop here. Okay? Yeah, only 7. No, Mesam, metal doesn't have to be from any one group. They can be any metal. Okay? Let's take zinc. Zinc ले ले. Let me show you. Zinc oxide ले लेते हैं. So, let's say zinc hydroxide. Actually, let me repeat this again. Just give me 1 second. So, let's say we have HCl and zinc hydroxide. वो क्या बनाएगा? Zinc chloride and water. वो 2 से बनाएगा. फिर zinc HCl और zinc oxide ले लेते हैं. Now zinc by the way is a 2+ ion. है transition element but 2+ ion होता है. सही है ना? So यहाँ भी क्या बनाएगा? Zinc chloride and water. You need 2 HCl. Riaz will do that later. We have not done solubility of salts abhi. Relax. Chill करें. ठीक है? So then we have, now we take HCl and metal carbonate का है ना, तो let's take zinc carbonate. And what do we get? We get the same salt, we got the same water, but we also now get carbon dioxide, and we need 2 HCl also again. And HCl can react with zinc also as redox to make zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. उसमें भी आपको ये 2 चाहिए. And that's literally what you need. Yeah? So zinc के 4 forms से कर सकता है ये. All right? All right, I'm gonna head out now. Okay? Just because, you know, one of those days. Okay? All right. Ciao, Khuda Hafiz. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. ठीक है? I'll see you guys tomorrow.